you very much, Chairman. Well, I've since retired from the bench. So all that I can say is about my recollection of what happened when I was there. And fortunately or unfortunately, my two colleagues have said much about it, particularly about the separation of powers. Well, most important thing is clearly stated in the Constitution, our Constitution, that there are three main organs of the government. As has been said, the first is executive, which is to be exercisable by the young people long ago and delegated down to the cabinet or any member of the cabinet. That is the executive. And the other one is the legislative body, which is parliament and federal level, and the state legislatures at the various state level. Then come to the judicial power. So it would appear from the print that they're quite separated in the sense that when we look at the function of the judiciary or the respective judges, what they can do. They have power to construe the Constitution. Even though Constitution is a supreme law of the country, no law can ever contravene the provision of the Constitution. And to the extent that law is null and void, it's a supreme law. But supreme, and at the same time, it's a written law, not like what we have in Britain. The Constitution is not written. Judges are very supreme. They can change in other words, the courts are powerful. Whereas here we have a written Constitution. As we go back to our history, it started off with the Federation of Malaya Agreement, 1948. And then we have the Malayan Constitution of 1957. And later on, when we have our two friends joining us, of course, earlier on there were three, Singapore, which broke out in 1965. So we are left with Sabah and Sarawak joining Malaya, or now we call Semenanjung Malaysia, to form Malaysia. That's what we do today. So there we brought bit by bit with minor changes here and there, until now we have what we call the Federal Constitution. Now, as to the judiciary, in the beginning, I'm talking about prior 1988, the judicial power of the Federation was vested in the two high courts. These high courts of Malaya and high courts of Sabah and Sarawak, or Borneo as what time was called, Sabah and Sarawak. And even what we know today of the Sharia court, they're subordinate to the High Court. Whatever decision they make can be overruled by the High Court. I mean the civil court. Where there is a conflict, civil court will prevail. But since 1988, it's no longer so. They were separated, the Sharia court, and the civil court has no power over the Sharia court anymore.